I am Kim Laney. I'm your OLLI coordinator, and I want to welcome you all today to the OLLI Brown Bag presentation. We're very happy to have you here today. And go ahead, Sheila. Let's go ahead and do the next slide. I'm going to ask you to mute yourself during the meeting. You can unmute yourself to ask questions, but what we'll ask you to do is put your question in the chat or raise your hand. And Lily would love to have questions during the presentation. You don't have to wait until the end. So if you have a question about what she's asking about, please feel free to go ahead and ask your question by putting it in the chat or raising your hand. I always like to let you know that our winter classes are in session right now, and the spring is going to be starting very soon. And we would love for you to make sure that you sign up for your classes as soon as possible. That helps us plan and to make sure that we can get you in your class with your Zoom link or your instructions. So please sign up at least 3 days before your class. Sooner is better. We appreciate that. Thank you. And we'd like to thank the Friends of OLLI. Friends of OLLI are people who give any donation of any amount or show their support as a volunteer. Whoever participates in our program, we consider you our friend. And if you, our friends make these brown bag presentations possible. So thank you to all of you who support OLLI at HSU. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this presentation over to Sheila Rocker-Hepe, the director of OLLI. So thank you for your attention.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. We're really glad you're here and excited, as always, with our brown bag presentations to share information from our community and exciting things that are happening around OLLI at Cal Poly Humboldt. Our vision is that learning should never end, and that we really do have a goal to create opportunities for folks who are 50 and better, but also folks across our community to really make connections with both the university and with one another and with lifelong learning. As the campus is beginning to reopen, students are coming back to campus. We wanted to let you know that at this time, the library at Humboldt is not open for OLLI members or any of the community at this point. And we are hoping that that will change very quickly or very soon, and just trying to take care of our community at large. One of the things that I wanted to share with you today is just to talk a little bit about what it means to be an OLLI member. OLLI is an organization. It's the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, and it was created by the Osher Foundation in partnership with then Humboldt State University in an effort to create an institute to offer programming, education, connection for folks who were 50 and better with the university. And there are 124 of us across the United States, all connected with a university. And the idea is to create lifelong learning opportunities and an organizational connection to one another and to the university. We do rely on our membership, not only for funding, but also for, it is the measure by which the Osher Foundation checks to see the health of a Osher Lifelong Learning Institute or an OLLI. So the minimum level of membership that they expect for the level of our funding is 1,000 members a year. We go to 0 members every year on July 1st, and then have to report what our membership is. And we've always had no problem meeting that 1,000 member mark in Humboldt. They never thought we would. When they gave us our initial planning grant, they thought, oh, we'll let Humboldt try, but we don't think they'll even get to the 500 member mark. We not only met the 500 member mark, but we raised our membership to over 1,000 and kept it there until the pandemic. At the pandemic time, OLLI at Humboldt, along with almost all the OLLIs in the nation, saw the membership numbers plummet for obvious reasons. We're now in a position that where we need to be raising our membership numbers again to maintain our funding, and therefore we're just raising awareness and reaching out to folks and asking that if you would please consider not only joining yourself if you're not already a member.
Sheila, I accidentally muted you.
Oh, okay. I don't know where you lost me there. But not only joining as a member, but letting the folks around you know about OLLI, about the free brown bag lunches, about the classes that we offer, but letting folks around you know that an investment in an OLLI membership, which is $35 a year, is an investment in having a lifelong learning institute at Humboldt. And so, so especially as we're talking today about becoming Cal Poly Humboldt becoming an aging friendly institution, it's a time to really reach out and talk about encouraging folks to join as an OLLI member and make those connections with our university. So taking a look at our membership at 6 months, when we had our full membership, we're usually at 6 months, we're around 365 members. This year, we're about at 173 members. So we're not quite meeting where we need to be. In 2019-20, before the pandemic, we were right at 1,000 at the end of the year. And our year total right now is 508. So we're halfway to where we need to be by June. And the way that we're going to get there is just by all of you helping us out by letting people know. So that's my pitch for the day. You can easily join OLLI at our website. And if you have any questions, just email us at olli@humboldt.edu or give any of us a call. We're happy to have a conversation. We also want to thank Friends of OLLI and the businesses and organizations that sponsor our programs, including programs like this, the Brown Bag Lunches, which we offer free every Monday. And on Fridays, we have Let's Connect with Tracy Barnes Priestley as an opportunity for folks to get together and talk about topics that she suggests. Although I've been there, and I have to tell you, a lot of times they don't stay on topic. They just talk and have a really great time. All of our classes are available. There are scholarships available to members, and the Friends of OLLI make that possible. So another pitch for just our Friends of OLLI. Kim, do you want to pick up on the open house?
Sure, thank you. Thanks for your attention, everybody. I just wanted to let you know this is hot off the press. We are going to have another virtual open house. So our spring open house is slated for Thursday, February 24th from 10 a.m. to noon. And we'll be rolling out more information and links to get signed up for that in the next few days and weeks. And then I just like to start our meetings with this acknowledgement. I wanted to share this with you as we get going. We acknowledge that Humboldt is on the land of the Wiyot peoples, which include the Wiyot tribe, Bear River Rancheria, and Blue Lake Rancheria. Arcata is known as Gudni, meaning over in the woods or among the redwoods. Wiyot peoples continue to remain in relationship to these lands through ceremony, culture, and stewardship. They are important parts of not only the history of this area, but also in continuing knowledge of this place. And by sharing this information, it just compels me to educate myself more. And I am always looking for ways that I can share that education with all of you. So please share with me and I will share back, and we can just make sure that we're recognizing the peoples of this place. So thank you. And I think that's it. I think it's time to get started. Jane, you go ahead and introduce our guest today. Thank you, everybody.
And I want to welcome you all, and in particular, Lily Downs, who is a senior in social work at Cal Poly Humboldt. She's working to make higher education more accessible and dynamic for older adults, and plans to go on to graduate school and maybe consider looking at and working with Hospice of Humboldt. So Lily, it's all yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane, and hello, everyone. I just want to start off by saying that I really appreciate you for taking the time and being here today, and I'm really excited to share this topic with you and to receive some feedback and input from you all. So thank you very much for being here. As Jane mentioned, I'm a senior majoring in social work here at Cal Poly Humboldt, and as part of my senior year internship, I've been working to help make higher education more accessible to older adults. And so part of that is trying to get Cal Poly recognized as an aging-friendly university. And so in this presentation, I'm going to kind of break down what an aging-friendly university is, what it takes to become one, if you think we should, and then kind of the areas that Humboldt is doing well, and then areas for growth as well. So this is really just to share this information with the community and to receive input and feedback on things that you think could use some improvement. And then I've been working really closely with Jensen, who is the chair of the social work department, and I just want to give her some time to introduce herself and anything she'd like to contribute.
Hi, thanks, Lily. Hi, everyone. Jamie Jensen. I am currently serving, as Lily said, as the chair of the Department of Social Work, and I'm also have the honor of being Lily's academic advisor. So it's always exciting as someone who's worked in the field of aging for 25 plus years in Humboldt County to see a social work student come to this area of practice and with such strong interest and passion that Lily has. So it's been an honor working with Lily on this project. Just wanted to mention another kind of project that aligns with this and may come up as we're moving forward through the presentation, that Lily and I have been partnering with Sheila Rocker-Heppy in developing a proposal for a gerontology program and gerontology certificates. So just again, that commitment to increasing education around aging and what it means to age for all of us, right? Regardless of how old we are at this moment. So keep in tune for that. I'm sure we'll get more information out to you as that kind of moves forward, but some exciting new things happening here on campus. It's nice to see you all. Thanks, Lily.
Thank you, Jamie. And then there's a question in the chat, just wanted to address. You can ask questions anytime, just raise your hand or put it in the chat and we'll get to you. Gonna go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So kind of going more into what exactly is an aging-friendly university. So it's basically an institution that has decided to pursue this designation, and this designation means being more aging-friendly and inclusive in not only your programs, but also your policies and practices. So there are over 81 higher education institutions that have already become aging-friendly universities across the nation, like it's an international designation. And in order to be accepted into the network, you need to endorse 10 different age-friendly university principles, which we will go into further into the presentation, including expanding educational opportunities for older adults, promoting intergenerational learning, and developing a research agenda around issues of aging, among others. And then USC is already an aging-friendly university, and I feel like this video does a really good job of explaining exactly what an aging-friendly university looks like and can look like once you receive this designation. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this. Let me know if there's issues with seeing or hearing the video, okay?
I'm Hassi Cohen. I'm the Dean of the Leonard Davis School of Gerontology. Through interdisciplinary research, we're finding answers to questions about the aging process and the possibility of improving healthy aging. I'm pleased that our school is leading the USC Age-Friendly University Initiative.
The Age-Friendly University is really a network of universities that have pledged that they're going to create policies and programs that are age-friendly.
USC was the first California university to join the Age-Friendly Global Network. Since we have done that, a couple other local institutions have joined the network as well, and we will be working with them alongside the Los Angeles Purposeful Aging Initiative to make LA a better place to grow old.
We want to be able to have all generations feel comfortable within the university setting, from education to just visiting, and that we have to have an accessible university.
There's so many different ways that people who are over the age of 50 can engage and be involved in the university.
Just because someone turns 65 does not mean they're retiring, and many older people have so much to give back.
The typical student has traditionally been a 20-year-old, but now with the aging population, people are coming back to school. Now your typical student could be in their 40s, their 50s, they could be in their 70s or 80s. People want to be able to learn throughout their lifetime.
They pay attention to the fact that their students could very, very well be those that are over the age of 50. And also engaging them for a lot of different kinds of things like mentoring, participation in research, volunteering.
We're here to educate, but we're also here to take research back out into the community.
One of the main principles of age-friendly universities is to address research that gets at some of these important issues, whether it be solving Alzheimer's disease, increasing longevity, figuring out how to serve caregivers and their families, promoting public policy.
I think the goal of Age-Friendly University and the initiative itself is to create a welcoming and open environment for all people, really defining diversity and inclusion so that there's something for everyone.
At any institution, whether it's a university or not, it's very important to have different perspectives. That means diversity. People who are older offer a different perspective. They also offer wisdom. When you mix people together in an intergenerational way, you're stronger, you're more vibrant, it's more interesting.
Having the age-friendly movement really serves to facilitate a different perspective, so individuals can have a different view of what it is to be old.
We all want to age with dignity and respect. When you have a university that's really saying, come in, our doors are open, and we really value who you are as an individual, and we want to add to that, that's why it's important. We say lifelong and worldwide, and we really mean that.
The opportunity is so great. USC is truly a global international university, and it's so exciting that we've been training students already to bring their knowledge about the growing aging population around the world.
Okay, hope that gave you a little bit of a better idea of what it looks like to be an aging-friendly university. Are there any questions so far about what exactly an aging-friendly university is? We'll go a little bit more into depth with the principles. Go back to sharing.
There seems to be an audio issue. If you could speak a little louder.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So why should Humboldt become an aging-friendly university? There we go. Okay. So obviously to attract a more diverse student population, and this could be either older adults, younger adults, people who are interested in having more of this intergenerational learning environment to be able to better meet the needs of older students, to create a more dynamic and skilled community. So by offering more classes and tailoring Cal Poly Humboldt to the older adult crowd, we can make our community stronger, more educated, have different skills, to promote lifelong learning and intergenerational learning among students, and to welcome all ages and backgrounds. And this graph is interesting because it's kind of excluding the older adult population in terms of the students at Cal Poly Humboldt. So it's a breakdown of the age groups of students who are attending. And so it says there's 402 students over the age of 35. So that's considered like age 35 and up is considered non-traditional students. But there's no data that I was able to find on our breakdown of like, say, 50 plus or 60 plus. And that just shows that there's a lot of room for Cal Poly Humboldt to grow in terms of being like adapted to the older population and knowing the needs and being able to recognize that. And then another reason why Cal Poly Humboldt should become an aging friendly university is because we're behind, because a lot of other colleges in California are already being recognized as aging friendly universities. So CSU Long Beach, Fullerton, San Diego State, USC, and I believe a few more have actually become aging friendly universities since then as well. So I'm going to go a little bit more into depth about the principles of an AFU, so the things that we need to make sure that we accomplish or are striving for in order to become an aging-friendly university. So number one is to encourage the participation of older adults in all the core activities of the university, including educational and research programs. So participation in core activities of the university. To promote personal and career development in the second half of life and to support those who wish to pursue second careers. So this is kind of a phenomenon that we're seeing a lot where people will work their whole lives and then retire and maybe want to explore a different field, or maybe you work for a little while and you just want to take some classes for personal development. So being able to better meet that need. To recognize the range of educational needs of older adults. So from those who were early school leavers through to those who wish to pursue master's or PhD qualifications. So some students might be returning because they never actually finished their bachelor's degree, or some may be trying to get their PhD. So there's a wide range of educational needs that need to be acknowledged. To promote intergenerational learning to facilitate the reciprocal sharing of expertise between learners of all ages. So if there are a mix of ages in the classroom, it makes it way more dynamic and a more rich experience for everyone involved in the classroom. To widen access to online educational opportunities for adults to ensure a diversity of routes to participation. So not only having classes in person, face-to-face, but having more online formats so that it's more accessible to a wider variety of people. To ensure that the university's research agenda is informed by the needs of an aging society, and to promote public discourse on how higher education can better respond to the varied interests and needs of older adults. So this one kind of focuses more on research and how that can serve the community at large. To increase the understanding of students on the longevity dividend and the increasing complexity and richness that aging brings to our society. To enhance access for older adults to the university's range of health and wellness programs and its arts and cultural activities. So bringing in not only classes and different educational opportunities, but more holistically looking at maybe some like workout classes or events, art programs, things like that. To engage actively with the university's own retired community and also the community at large of older adults. To ensure regular dialogue with organizations representing the interests of the aging population. So this is kind of bringing it out to the community as well. Okay. So I'm going to discuss a little bit about what Humboldt has to offer as an institution already. So this is kind of a given with OLLI. And then there's also the over 60 program here at Humboldt. And then in terms of resources that Humboldt as an institution has to offer, there's the Health and Wellbeing Center, Student Disability Resource Center, Center of Activities, and then the featured events page where there's things like concerts and things like that. And then there's community resources, so the Humboldt Senior Resource Center, Area 1 Agency on Aging. And then I linked a resource sheet that has a lot of different programs, events, things like that, that cater to the needs of older adults in the community. And then in terms of Humboldt as well, we have Golden Years, which is a program through the Yes House on campus. And it's a volunteer program that's main goal is to bridge the age gap and promote awareness of issues that affect the aging population on campus. And I was a volunteer in that program, and I also directed that program. And we try to partner with community members who are older and have like younger students be able to meet with them and talk to them and have more of that intergenerational exchange. So those are some strengths. And then further suggestions of things that we've kind of brainstormed that Humboldt could do better or add. There's a basic needs website, and there are a bunch of different resources on there. And so I felt like we should really have a page on there for older adults and resources that the college and as well the community has for older adults. And I've contacted the person in charge of that website and they agreed to that. So hopefully that's in the works. And then the CAPS website, Counseling and Psych website, they have a lot of self-help tabs, and I thought we could have one for getting older and different resources for that and research and things like that. And then the Student Disability Resource Center, I thought it might be cool if there were some aging resources so that we can make things more accessible. And we can kind of talk a little bit more about that. And then same with the health center. So I thought it would be super cool if we could have different like classes for older adults, like specifically health classes for older adults, so that there's like a dedicated space for that. And then as Jamie mentioned, the gerontology program, hopefully going to be coming around soon. That's a great opportunity for research for the older adult population in the community. And that would also attract a lot more students. And so the gerontology program would be a really, really good thing to have in conjunction with Cal Poly becoming an aging-friendly university. I'm going to stop babbling for a second and check in. Any questions so far?
Lily, I did see one question in the chat. Somebody was asking if you know how many people are participating in the over 60 program.
I am not sure of that number. Nope, I'm not sure.
And then there's another comment that learning in my mid-60s, lacking technology skills has put me behind in many ways. My interest sitting behind the screen, excuse me, is becoming less, especially given unwanted ads and security threats.
Mm-hmm.
And Lindsay also adds, we hope to add LifeCareHumboldt as a local resource, lifecarehumboldt.org. We are planning a senior life plan for aging in the community. We have secured property in Arcata where we will enjoy partnering with CPH. And okay, and then Jamie just answered her. So that looks like that's all right now.
Now I have a question. The Golden Years program, how extensive was that? How did you do your outreach? How many people were engaged? What kinds of issues were being raised? How did that actually work? And I don't think it's clear what is available through the over 60 program at HSU. Exactly what does that entail?
Yeah, so in terms of the Golden Years program, it kind of depends on the semester. So I was in it pre-COVID and then during COVID. So pre-COVID looked a lot different. We partnered with basically kind of like an assisted living care facility in Eureka. And we would actually take our volunteers to that facility and get like one-on-one time with the residents, help out with like small chores and things like that. We would do like puzzles and bingo and all those good things. But because of COVID, it moved fully online, and then it became kind of like a pen pal situation. And so we would have our participants write letters, and then we would vet them and then send them to the facility, and they would distribute them, and then they would send us some back. And then we worked a lot on training our volunteers to kind of understand like ageism, elder abuse, things like that. So more issues involving the population, and really training them and educating them, because it's not something that's talked about, especially with the younger generation. And so trying to educate them more on the issues in the population that we were working with. And then it looks like Sheila put some information on the over 60 program in the chat. There's a link for that. It's basically if you're over the age of 60, you can participate in this program through Cal Poly Humboldt. And I believe that there are like discounts and things like that. And it's like a specific semester set up just for people who are over the age of 60.
It used to be, I think you paid $60 and you could take 6 credits, but you per semester, if that's still the case.
It pretty much is, yeah. It says,
But it didn't give you credit toward a degree.
mm-hmm.
If you wanted credit toward the degree, you had to pay the full tuition for the credits. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
And do you have any idea how many people participate in that? You don't, right? Is that right?
Not the over 60 program, no.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Looks like,
Ted?
yeah.
Yeah. Unmute. Ted, you need to unmute.
There we go. Okay. It's pretty easy to see why younger students are studying and taking courses and so on. I myself worked till I was 85, and I had a particular good job that allowed that. But most people don't, they retire at 65. So is there any pull for these students, or is it all push? That we're educating older people, but are there any interest in industry or anywhere in society for older employees?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I think that's a great area for growth. And I think that that's something that the gerontology program is going to be really helpful for, because that is going to be bringing more jobs to Humboldt in general, is that gerontology program, because the students will be educated in that and then more interested in pursuing that field. And I think that that's definitely something with like ageism, is it's definitely harder for older adults to find work and stay within that job. So yeah, I think that's something that I would love to help work on, like on a macro level. Yeah, I know that's not a great answer to that question, but I really appreciate the question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jill.
Yeah, in response to that, having retired from the university 15 years ago and gotten called back a couple of times to do a job I used to do there temporarily when the organization was in need. So the latest time is the Career and Academic Advising Center. During the COVID time, a lot of people retired early, and so people changed chairs at the university. And so during the hiring process, which, as many of you may know, is 3 to 6 months long, I've been asked to do that. And one of the things that I think, I would be surprised if there are a lot of industries asking for older people, but I think COVID has taught them they really can draw in those people from home with their expertise and their wisdom to help people who are still new on the ground at their jobs. So I think there might be more than we think, but that would be very interesting to go forth, have some, group of people find out. Oh, one more thing. Lily, when I got into the email just before the thing today, it said you wanted us to fill out a survey, but when I tried to get in, it said I didn't have permission. So I'll try again after class. I just wanted to let you know it came back that way.
Thank you. I probably need to change that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think there's also the possibility of having entrepreneurs after retirement and teaching classes on how to become an entrepreneur. If you've been in a classic job, if there are such things anymore. But that's a wide open field for people, and some people who have had to retire early, either because they got ill with COVID or because they were pushed out because of ageism. I think it would be really interesting to examine how that kind of a program would benefit people who are over 55, for example. And not just playing with crypto.
I think maybe that's something that we could add to the age-friendly university plan as well, is exactly that, is looking at Humboldt at large in the community and finding areas and room for growth in terms of hiring older adults and like raising awareness about that.
I mean, one of the things they're doing is trying to get retired nurses, retired medical people back to work, and the conditions under which that's viable, given our reward structure and the constraints and regulations. Same thing for teachers. They're trying to get anybody into the classroom who knows what they're doing. So I think that would be another area that, I mean, they don't have enough teachers to begin with. So I would be curious as to whether HSU would consider in the aging friendly program for teaching substitute teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Retired people will be substitute teachers because many of them have content expertise.
And Lindsay has a question. Ann?
Yeah, I'm the president of the board of LifeCareHumboldt, which is a nonprofit formed to set up a senior life plan community where seniors can live. And we've actually had lots of conversations with OLLI and other people at HSU about interacting with them. But I guess my question is, I just want to point out many life plan communities in the United States are affiliated or even supported by universities, and if for nothing else, by for their retired staff. And I don't know whether, as you work on senior activities, where there's any kind of way of making a formal relationship with the university and LifeCareHumboldt.
Actually saw your brown bag, Ann, and I loved it. So thanks for sharing and thank you for attending. And I think that would be great. And I think that's another thing that we could definitely add to the proposal, is formalizing that relationship. I would love that for sure. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hi, I have a comment, if I may. I don't know if you saw my hand raised. So I was in the over 60 program 2 years before COVID. I was going to classes, I guess, about 4 semesters. And I couldn't find anyone who would talk to me, being in my late 70s. Even when I rode the bus with my student body pass, the kids would not even sit next to me. They'd rather stand rather than sit next to an old lady, except one older student who was 28. He would sit next to me and we would talk. But that was an indication of how reluctant the 19, 20-year-olds are to interact with older people. And so I felt so alone that I went to the Yes House and was told about this program where you have people go visit older people. And I said, well, I'm an older person. I could use someone to visit with me. you get me a student to sit and we can chat or play a game. And they said, oh, I'm sorry, we only go to this one senior assisted living and you have to pass all of these requirements and be fingerprinted and everything. And I said, well, I'm a student, I'm here every day. Well, the only thing I could find was your thing on Friday at noon where you knit little caps. And that was the only time for 1 hour I could sit with other people and we could talk while we knitted for that 1 hour a week. And I just wanted to share that, that for those of us who are on campus and not confined to certified assisted living homes yet, it would be really nice to have a buddy and the senior news that comes out of the Humboldt Senior Resource Center talked about hooking up young people with old people. And I think that would be a good thing to do.
Thank you very much for sharing. Yeah.
Can I comment on that too?
Go ahead, Cheryl. Yeah.
Oh, myself. Okay. Yeah, I love that story because it's the bureaucracies within the bureaucracies trying to help the people who are standing there knocking on the door. The thing that occurs to me though also is I remember seeing things at Thanksgiving and holidays and stuff about students who cannot go home. They live in Southern California or something. They can't go home, so the campus is often looking for community members for them to go have a Thanksgiving dinner with, or meet somewhere for a cup of coffee or something. So I know somebody's doing something, but I certainly understand the big picture. It's not working so well. But there are some students who actually, individually might want to also have a friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really appreciate, Patricia, you sharing that. And I think that's definitely true. I think that a lot of people my age are intimidated by older adults, or they feel like they can't talk to them, or they don't know what to talk to them about and things like that. And I think that there's a lot of room for growth in terms of society in general and the way that we view older adults and them being approachable and things like that. So I think there's a lot of room for growth there. And I think part of that would be making Cal Poly Humboldt aging friendly, because then that does give you more visibility, and it makes it seem like, yeah, older people are students here and they are human beings and you can talk to them. And so that would be a step in the right direction with that. And I absolutely love your idea of having kind of a buddy system. And I think that would be really cool to explore and kind of see where that program could fit in the university and what capacity we have to do that. And I think that's another thing we could add. So feel free to interrupt me if there's another question. But there is a portion of this whole presentation that I would love for us to split out into breakout rooms and kind of discuss the things that you think Humboldt is doing well for the aging community, and also the room for growth. And then we can share as a large group afterward. So I think we're going to go ahead and break off into smaller groups and then discuss basically your thoughts and opinions and your suggestions, and then come back and share them as a big group.
I had one question, and we had discussed earlier, possibly you're talking through the survey questions before we broke up. Mm-hmm. Are you still thinking of doing that?
Yeah, I can do that. And then I also went in and updated the share. So anyone who has the link should be able to fill it out now. And I can drop that in the chat as well. And I can just vocalize the questions. So first one is, do you feel comfortable being on campus at Cal Poly Humboldt? And then elaborate on that. Do you feel Cal Poly Humboldt is accessible to the older adult population in our community? And then elaborate. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your level of involvement with activities, programs, and opportunities offered on campus at Cal Poly Humboldt? So how involved are you in events and things like that? And then the last question is, do you have any ideas or suggestions about what we can employ on the path of becoming an aging-friendly university?
Thank you.
So Lily, do you want us to go into breakout rooms now? Is that what you're thinking? So you're just going, I'm going to go ahead and create some breakout rooms, and I'm going to just let people go into them. It'll automatically assign you to a breakout room, and you should be able to navigate back to this room at any time. So I will get you guys into some breakout rooms. Is there a set amount of time, Lily, that you would like?
I'd say like 10, 15 minutes, maybe.
I'm going to do 12 minutes. All right. I hope that I have this all set up right and do my best here, people. And here we go.
Anybody there?
Yeah. Hey, Wendy, did you not get, do you need to go into a room still? You didn't get into a room?
It started me and then it kicked me back to here.
Okay, let me see if I can, how I do this. That is so interesting. Can't find your, oh, there you are. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, I'm going to send you, that should work. Hello.
Hi there, Kim. I'm trying to find my breakout room. So far, it's just me and Sheila, and now you. Am I doing something wrong?
Let me, you just, oh, I see the email room that you were, or the room that you were in. Let me move you to a different room then.
Okay.
Let me find you. I'm going to move you to, there you go. All right. Hopefully that will work. All right. I think everyone's in, they're in their meeting rooms.
Thank you.
I think Safe Planners is in that meeting room by themselves. Was there no one there?
Yeah, they weren't talking with us.
I'm going to move them to a different room then.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, Cheryl she didn't want to talk with us.
I just did it manually. I mean, I just let it,
Yeah.
let it pick itself. I figured that would, let's go for a random.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
I guess I could stop the recording.
think a couple of us are still coming back, so thank you for doing that. Hope you had some good conversations.
Yeah, Karen, do you want to finish your sentence? I can't hear you. You're muted, Karen.
Changes between generations makes it difficult to be a good tutor to the younger generation or the youngest generation.
Because why?
We don't speak the same language, don't have the same interests, don't spend all of our time on our phones.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I do.
We were talking about how to interact with the younger generation and the problems associated with that, the problems associated with learning to listen, not being intimidated by or intimidating the other generation, the technological difficulties that we sometimes feel. And we can't necessarily relate to their smartphone world, and they can't understand why we aren't tuned in.
I'm enjoying a 10-year-old grandson that lives nearby who is quite brilliant. And so I'm sharing a lot of technical things with him to encourage his studies.
And curiosity.
Yeah.
How can we make them curious? How can we make them curious about where we've been and what we've done? And how can we learn to interact effectively with them?
Well, I find my experience with young people, I have been a music teacher most of my life. If I ask them for help with the computer stuff, have them teach me. And then over time, it evolves into what they know, and then I share what I learned, and kind of, you know, but have them be the ones that, like I have a grandnephew now who picked up a violin and a music in the library in Dixon where he lives, and his dad called and we've been doing Zoom lessons because he picked up, they don't have strings in the school. He plays some brass instrument. But he's like, he knows all this computer stuff, and so I learn from him while he's learning music from me. And it kind of as a shared thing. I think it's when it becomes one-sided, it's a problem. You know, so find the ways that do open up possibilities, and they're usually something.
Joint projects where you're helping each other toward the same goal.
I think that's true for most people. I think, whatever age we are, I think. Anyway.
I see Maggie has a question.
Yeah, I just to segue off what Susan was saying, I think that older adults and younger adults are the same in that we're all different, and that there are a lot of older adults who don't want to have anything to do with anybody else. And I think it's important that part of this process is that we don't prejudice or stereotype the younger population. I think there are a lot of young people who do put their phones down when they're talking to somebody who, you know, there's a lot of young people who are engaged, who are interested, and there are a lot of older people who are not engaged and not interested. And I think what we all have to do is just keep, you know, if somebody doesn't engage with us, just move on to someone who will. And I think there's plenty of opportunity out there, and there's plenty of reasons that people might not engage with us in the moment when it has nothing to do with us at all. And so I think it's important that we shatter stereotypes, but also don't create stereotypes for the youth, because they, you know, overall, I would say they're having a hell of a time compared to when I was a kid. My life was easy peasy compared to what's happening for many of these folks. And they don't have the resilience. I know during COVID, it's been very difficult for a lot of older adults, but I gotta tell you, as we're looking at all my nieces and nephew in their 20s, And kids, I think it's been a hell of a lot harder for them because they had no frame of reference. They've never had something terrible happen in their life, and they're in a moment where your teenage emotions and the, you know, all those hormones, everything's huge, right? Everything's either wonderful or terrible. And I think we're very fortunate to have that understanding. Not to say it's been easy or perfect for anybody, but I think that patience that we've got to, you know, have it for people who are really struggling with becoming who they think they want to be. They don't know, and life isn't making it easy for them at all. So I just, you know, if a younger person ignores me, there's plenty more out there. So that's my thought.
I love that. I love what you just said. I think it's so true. I've earned every single one of these gray hairs, and I'm proud of them.
Right.
Jenny, did you have a question?
I wanted to make a comment where I couldn't get on my video in the chat that I had with one other person who is here somewhere, I guess, but I can't see her. But one of the things I thought is that it's much, much easier if you're an outgoing person like me to interact yourself with somebody. If you tend to be more on the introverted side, generally, the over 60s program was one of the things we were talking about. I did that when I was 60, that is 20 years ago, okay? And I was really among the very, very few, relatively speaking, very few then. And I'm ahead of the baby boomer curve. So for me, everything was new and I had to push it, but I'm an outgoing person. And sometimes the professors are the people who make that go. And they certainly did for me anyway, in terms of field placements or these small groups that you were learning something. I took plant taxonomy. So if you were in the lab, you were with a bunch of people, but not all that many. But Mike Messler, who was teaching that then, was excited to have an old person. I think he didn't call me an old person, but he was excited that I was bringing something completely different and a history that was different to what was going on now. And I never had any difficulty with being talked to by other people, but I really, I was out there. And I do think that that is a dilemma for bringing all of us in. We were talking about it's much easier to make the connection with people if you're taking a class that's full of activities. There, rowing, she was, I think it was rowing and climbing, which she started at 60. Well, but there you are in immediate contact with other people, and they can't do their job if they don't include you. So it gets done. So I think there are a number of ways to get through this so that we just get to be normal people, good, bad, and indifferent. Some of us are awful, including me. I mean, maybe somebody doesn't want to spend time with me. I don't blame them. That's their choice, but not if their choice is made because they just got scared or thought that I was going to put them down or didn't have anything to say to them. Okay, that's enough. Bye-bye, I'm on mute again.
May I would just like to ask Lily and Jamie how the university plans to increase. I know it's been years when I approached I think Jamie, we weren't even there yet, but I approached some professors on campus to try to bring older folks into different classes as a means of starting the conversation. And I'm just curious if there are any set plans to how to bridge that gap. Because what we're hearing about a lot, or what we talked about in our group, was how do you get people together? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I started here in 2008. And early on, I actually had a grant where I brought in tribal elders into the classroom, and that was cool. So for 2 years, we had tribal elders come in and just have conversations with students. And that was hugely impactful, but there wasn't really a lot of institutional support for it. It was totally because I got this grant and I could pay, and then they're like, oh yeah, let's do it. So I don't get the sense that there is this kind of overarching strategy on the university side. I think that we are the ones who are starting that momentum. We are the ones who are going to engage that conversation and ask those questions in this process. So I don't know, let's make it happen. I think that that's what I kind of, my experience as a student here at Humboldt. I also was a director of Golden Years. Actually, it had been like down for many years before I started, and I walked in and I'm like, well, I want to volunteer, but I want to volunteer with older adults. And they said, oh, well, we don't have that program anymore. I'm like, well, why not? Let's do it. So we started it again, right? And it's been going consistently since then. But that was started like a long time ago. And it was like an adopted grandparent program. It kind of over the years, right? And so I think there's conversations that have happened, and as we've started showing up in spaces, as we've started talking more about it, I don't know if all of you saw, but the new issue of the Humboldt Journal of Social Relations was just came out, and it was a special issue on aging. And so I think as these conversations starting to happen, people are starting to reach out to me and say, hey, I have this interest too, and I've hit a lot of walls. And so I think there's people who are interested, but I don't know that the system has expressed that. So we'll get that momentum.
Let's get OLLI working with you on that, because it feels like we have all these wonderful members. We have great faculty people. I mean, it seems like OLLI could be a resource, a go-to resource for professors or instructors. I mean, it just feels like a win-win.
That happens at the gerontology program at Sac State. That's what they do. They work with their OLLI program. And people from the OLLI program come into the classroom.
Exactly.
So that model exists. And it's definitely something Sheila and I are thinking about as we're moving forward and designing this.
Okay, well, I'm available.
Yay. Awesome.
Nice. And I had a question from Maggie as to whether there's grant funding to be had for this kind of a program. Maggie, you still there?
Oh, a question for me, you said? I thought you said a question from me. I said, I didn't ask that.
No, a question for you as to whether A1AA provides grant funding for a program like this.
The Humboldt State has, Cal Poly Humboldt has better access to grant funding for something like this through their systems than we have access for funding for this. Our funding is really siloed and limited in terms of, but the issue around social isolation is something that people have looked at or talk about a lot, especially since COVID. So from us directly, no, but there's opportunities out there in the larger grant making world. I'm sure we can dig around for something like this.
Yeah, so I was just going to type it, but then I decided just to say it. We have an office on campus, the Sponsored Programs Foundation, where they actually research. Each faculty member gets a grant person, specialist, who will research topics. So I have a grant pre-award specialist who's looking for potential opportunities to fund parts of this in different ways.
Amy, there was also a question in the chat about the gerontology program and asking if it's going to be housed within the social work department, and just if you could talk a little bit more about that, what that would look like.
Yeah, hi April, good to see you. So the gerontology program is going to be housed in the college. The academic home of the program will be in the College of Professional Studies. And then it will be offered through extended ed, where OLLI is offered through. So it's open to, the certificate will be open to community members, anybody interested in taking the classes. You don't need to be a matriculated student, or you can build on that and work towards doing a degree, a bachelor's degree. And then hopefully down the road, a master's degree would be great. Currently, it is not affiliated other than my involvement with the Department of Social Work, but it may become linked. So we're just not at that point yet of deciding whether it would go under the Department of Social Work or it will be its own standalone program in the College of Professional Studies.
And I really enjoy this conversation, and I really like how we've talked about like technology and media and trying to bridge the age gap and a lot of those things. And I'm wondering if there's anything else from those small groups that you wanted to share with the larger group about ways we can improve.
Wendy, you had a good idea. Wendy?
Let's see, one of the things I suggested was maybe having it for people who like to use the library. Either as a OLLI member, you can get a library card, but if there was a specific orientation, like, you know, once a month or every couple of months or something for older people to come in and get a hands-on idea of how to use the library for possibly other things than other students are focused on. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's see, what was the other thing? Pool.
We wanted a heater in the pool, but I don't know if that counts.
Or, you know, opening up the big pool there for seniors to use. Now I can't remember what the other thing was. Oh, parking.
Yes.
For some people, even getting around the campus is tricky, depending where you have to park and all that. Anyway, that was it.
I see Janina.
I was just going to mention, as far as parking, since somebody else brought it up. In Portland, they sell you a senior citizen, an honored citizen ticket for the Metro. And a couple years ago, we went there and we went all over town for $3 or something. We have free parking for on-campus classes for OLLI people.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And you can just go to an OLLI class on campus, but before you get to your parking spot, you get a free OLLI parking ticket, which I recently did. And it would be really nice if the peace officers would notice that OLLI parking ticket on my dashboard and the note that said I'm attending a class in what used to be Ed Psych, Harry Griffith 225, and not give me a $40 ticket because I was on the wrong side of the parking lot. Now it's my fault, and I should have known that because I parked there for 26 years when I was working at Humboldt as a staff member. But, you know, yeah, it was the last parking place and my class was starting in 15 minutes. So it is my fault. However, could they just have left a warning like, dear senior citizen, dear honored citizen, whoops, you made a mistake. That would be really fun and really nice. But I'm going to pay the ticket, and I'm not meaning to gripe about it. It was my fault. But
Janina, I want to let you know, Janina, you should know that if you protest it, they give you a one-time absolving of your error.
Oh, honey, you know, I used to walk in and Steve Sullivan used to be the head of parking, and he'd say, Janina, what'd you do again? So I'm trying to be, you know, sophisticated and an OLLI representative, and I will go and pay my ticket. And I will also make this suggestion on the side, but very nicely and sweetly. Anyway, that's my piece.
So
That's all right. I went and I put my ticket on the front windshield, you know, on the dashboard, and then I put up my sun shield, right? Really dumb. Couldn't see the ticket.
You're saying
they let me off on that one.
This already exists through OLLI?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, so go to the OLLI website and it'll tell me how to get that?
When you
No,
register.
That's in Portland.
Oh, in Portland?
Yeah.
No, is it, you're talking about?
I'm talking about OLLI here last week.
Oh,
Ron
no.
Johnson art class.
So
Yeah.
let me clarify.
Okay.
Let me
Kim.
clarify. Oh, yeah. So OLLI at HSU does offer parking for anybody on campus when you're enrolled in one of our classes that are offered on campus. And we send you a coupon code when you're signed up for your class. And there's note of that in the OLLI catalog. So look for the information about parking on campus in the OLLI catalog, both in the current winter catalog, and also we will have something in there in the spring as well.
And so when you get that catalog, when you get that number, that code for your parking ticket, you go to the kiosk or you go to the machine and you put in that number, and then it spits out your ticket, which you put on your windshield.
That's if it's an in-person class, yeah.
Yeah, on campus in person.
Yep. Go ahead, Rowetta.
Yes, I had a question. Can you get one if you wish to use the library? It would be nice if you want to go up and spend a couple hours at the library. Is that possible?
The HSU library, the Cal Poly library is currently closed to community members.
But when it does open.
When it does open, we'll have to revisit that. Right now, we are using, that comes out of our, the class fees. So we set it up so that we do pay the parking permit fee, but it comes out of the class fee.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Suggestions? I love these. I love everything that's going on in the chat.
One thing that comes to my mind, Kim, is that I think most of the young folks, the students that we would be interacting with at the university would feel that they are the technology experts, and we could make their day by asking them for help in lots of little situations with our watches or our phones or whatever. And that would be a way that we could make it easier for them to see us as approachable.
I have a suggestion. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's been a recent name change of the university, which is Cal Poly. And it would be nice to get the president or somebody from the university to come and explain to us what the plans are for really becoming a poly, not just a name, but in function.
Okay.
So thanks for that question. I think we have invited the provost to speak and share about what that means in one of our upcoming brown bag presentations. So look for that to happen hopefully in the spring.
What their plans are?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
And I see Julie's had her hand up. Julie, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi there. I've really enjoyed hearing from folks. I am seasonally visiting, and I'm pretty resistant to technology too. So this is totally opening my mind to one of your goals that was stated is to offer things for multiple platforms. And it's so intriguing to me that I would be curious about senior housing or temporary house sharing, because I just drove here from North Idaho and I'm doing a bunch of beach combing for a month. So thank you for helping me think outside the box.
Great. Yeah.
Janina?
I would just like to say that we have possibly in the works a class that would in fact teach different technologies. I'm going to be begging this week for this person who I met in the chat to possibly offer some classes in the future. We have had a few in the past, but we have a new person who might be interested. So stay in touch.
I might be interested in what? I'm sorry, missed the first part of your sentence.
Mine, Ted.
Yes.
I was just saying that I'm putting on my begging robes to someone I met in the chat or in the room to come teach for OLLI. And she has familiarity with teaching several different processes of technology with seniors. So hopefully we'll talk her into an offer she can't refuse, and we'll be offering that in the near future. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Anyone else? Any other questions, comments? Jane, you're muted. Janina, did you want to add
At the
something?
rate of being too wordy, I just wanted to thank Lily for the excellent job she's done. It's been a very nice presentation. Thank you, Lily.
And we want you to encourage you to do more.
Yes.
Thanks so much. And I appreciate all of your attending this today, and Lily for giving the presentation, and Jamie for being here as well. That's wonderful. It's been also enlightening. And we want to invite you back on Valentine's Day next Monday for a discussion of the 2021 U.S. Capitol Christmas tree after the event, what happened, how it went, the people who contributed. And Linda West, who's a volunteer with the U.S. Forest Service, will give us an in-depth look at the impressive artistry and collaboration that was needed to bring recognition to the People's Tree. Hear from representatives of the Forest Service, the Redwood Empire Quilt Guild, and BT Metals as they share their stories about their participation in the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree that came from the Six Rivers National Forest. Thank you so much for coming, and please invite your friends to join OLLI so we can get back up to the numbers we need to have to continue this wonderful program. And you take care. Stay safe.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here today. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Well.